Fail. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KazooCast. Today we have some wonderful topics to cover. But first, we are going to be introducing our guests. So today we have, right now we have Venge, Chandler, Dumo, and Nintendo Direct is coming later. So it's gonna be a good time. Who wants to go first introducing themselves? How about you, Venge?
I'll go.
Whoever made that call first.
I'll go first. I'm Dumo. I do the channel Dumo Plays. I play a bunch of Splatoon, Pokemon, Monster Hunter, stuff like that. Venge?
Okay, gotcha. Hello guys, how you doing? This is Venge, and I'm a Nintendo streamer just like Kazoo, family friendly, and all that dope stuff.
Super dope. And then Chandler, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hello everyone. My name is Chandler. I'm not a YouTuber, but I'm a huge Nintendo fan, and I think that counts for something, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then you guys probably know me. My name is Kazoo. And I like to stream Nintendo, so Nintendo stuff. So that's how it's going. Anyway, so should we get into our first topic already, or should we? Yeah, we probably should. Wait, who are you again, lol? Yeah, Fiery F. I don't know. Who knows, really? Who knows, really? Let me just... Actually, I should say hello to everyone in the chat first. Hello, Shark Boy, Fiery, Edgar, and Emmanuel, guys. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. And welcome to the podcast. Maybe I should say that. Nintendo on the way. Yay, just waiting for the link to load. Yay. All right.
Nice.
Nintendo is almost here. All right. So, we will then get into our first topic, which is let's not start with the big one. Let's start with how about the December Switch sales, you guys? Like, so the Switch was the best-selling console of the whole year, and I think, and the best selling of December. So it had like massive sales, which is pretty impressive, especially because considering Nintendo is coming off the Wii U era, so clearly they're really doing something right with the Switch. So if anyone else has any thoughts regarding that. I think my thing is frozen. Hold on. Oh yeah, it was frozen. Okay, now it's okay. Yeah, so did anyone have any thoughts?
Well, it was also the best December out of any console of this generation.
Yes.
To add that into, like, it's selling really well. I don't think anyone, well, no one should have been questioning it all with Pokemon and Smash leading into the holiday. Plus all the evergreen titles they have is just like it's hard to stop that.
Definitely. Chandler and Venge, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think on that thought, yeah, Pokemon and Smash pretty much, I think, carried probably like 99% of those Switch sales.
Oh yeah.
Through December. And when you have a game like Smash, some game that comes around like once every 5 or 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be a system seller. And then Pokemon, anything. There's a ton of Pokemon fans too. So whatever Pokemon game there's out there, there's going to be a lot of people who buy it. So yeah, I think it was pretty much those two games that really, did it for Switch sales.
Yes, definitely. And I see that now we have Nintendo is here. Hello, Nick.
What's going on? Can y'all hear me? Are we good? Is everything good?
Yeah.
Are we good?
We're good.
Yeah,
cool.
I think everything's
Yeah.
good. I think everything's
Man, my
good.
computer has been It's just as soon as I got home, it just started acting up. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Just pray that it holds together.
Just pray. Prayers.
Because this thing is
Prayers
killing
for
me.
Nintendo's PC.
What's going on?
Yeah, so everyone, this is Nintendo, if you don't know him already. Oh, also, I tagged you on Twitter, Nick, in the KazooCast post. So if you want to
I will
retweet
share that out.
that'd be cool.
I will share that out immediately.
Oh yeah, you know it.
Let's go.
Okay. Nick, what's your opinion on all the Switch sales?
On the December sales,
Yes.
well, I actually talked about this on the Salty podcast, and I actually talked about this on Abaddon's podcast last night.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Like, I mean, it's not really crazy, like, but after 2017, with the amount of games that came out, just the first party games that came out, and like, everybody was like, well, I don't think 2018 is going to be big for Nintendo at all, unless, until the end of the year. But apparently that wasn't the case. Like, they still sold all these Switches, and then December was just a cherry on top with Smash coming out, and then November with Pokemon coming out.
Oh yeah.
I still find it crazy. Like, they did what they did in December. Like I believe they could, but in the back of my head, I was like, I don't think they would hit it. Like, you know what I mean? But then come to find out, they were the best selling Switch, or the best selling of all the consoles. Like, right now, currently, they're outpacing the PlayStation 4, which is kind of nuts if you think about it. Like, that's crazy that they're outpacing the PS4. So it's like, yo, Nintendo struck gold with the Switch, man. They really did. Like, they really struck gold with it. And I think they'll still continue to do the same thing till like 2019. And I think we'll see what happens whenever Xbox and Sony comes out with their new consoles. But I think this year, and then partly in the 2020 is going to be huge for Nintendo. At least that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, and then whenever Metroid comes out in like 2022 or 2023 or something.
2025.
2025, yeah. 2025 Metroid. 10-year development cycle, because they had to start over. That'll big years. Big years for Nintendo. That kind of brings us over to our next point, which is Metroid Prime 4 is delayed.
Oh my gosh.
It has been delayed. So if anyone doesn't know by now, this is like the hot story of the past couple days. But if anyone somehow doesn't know about it yet, what happened was Metroid Prime, Nintendo said that it was not happy with the direction it was taking, and it wasn't like high quality enough. So they basically just scrapped development and are just restarting it now. And Retro is actually going to be taking it over. So I personally think this was the right move. I think that's pretty much the general consensus, even although everyone is disappointed that that we're gonna have to wait for so long now, because we're probably developing it for like at least like 3 years or something. But yeah, I guess that's why we didn't see any footage of it. except for that little teaser trailer, like the logo in the galaxy, whatever it was. But yeah, what does everyone else think of about that?
Go ahead, Venge. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, just by thinking about how Nintendo has been working and thinking about a situation that happened to another developer, excuse me, in regards to the Final Fantasy VII remake and how they decided to have a team that never worked on Squaresoft type games before. Well, more like Square Enix now, which was CyberConnect 2. CyberConnect 2 was well known for like a lot of anime-based titles. They were really well known for like very strong presentation. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why Square Enix decided to have them help with the production. But then as time passed and I guess they saw what direction they were taking, they wasn't fond of that direction, and so they decided to do the exact same thing that Nintendo is doing with excuse me, the new Metroid Prime. So I mean, honestly, that is a smart move, really, because if they had someone that had no experience with it before, somebody new, they thought they could bring some, I guess, fresh ideas to the table, and they don't like it and they feel like there's going to be backlash, it was smart, because when it comes to popular franchises, you're going to have a lot of fans that's going to be eyeballing that really hard, and if they don't like it, it can kind of like backfire on them. So I find that to be a smart move.
Fans are not forgiving most of the time.
I think it's a smart move only because they haven't showed any gameplay yet. Like, all we have is that teaser trailer. So it's good for them to get ahead of it. It's great to see transparency from them. I'm glad that they did. Whenever I saw the video, I first thought it was going to be like an update. Like I thought we were going to see some gameplay, and I was excited for a minute. And then as he started to speak, I was like, oh no, this can't be good. This will not be good at all. Like this can't be good. And as he started to go through it and said, we weren't happy with what was going on, and this is our plans, and we're scrapping it. We're going to move it to retro.
Oh my gosh.
I went from being really hyped to like, surprisingly, I wasn't that upset about it. And like I said, and I think it's only because we haven't seen it. All we saw was just the logo.
I agree.
So it just gives our imagination free to run with what they're going to do in the future. Yeah, people are upset and people are disappointed because it's not coming out anytime soon. But this is I don't want to say cornerstone, but this is like a legit franchise of Nintendo, and they don't want to ruin this. And they've already had a few, other franchises, Metroid games come out that people weren't very fond of. Other to be example, like not very many people were fond of that. So, it's good for them to get this one right, especially a Prime title anyway.
Yeah, the transparency was really mind-blowing, especially from a company as secretive as Nintendo. Yeah, they don't give any, like, their transparency is pretty much about as bad as YouTube's. Like they do not tell you anything that's going on whatsoever at any given time, and if you ask, they'll just say we don't have anything to say, or read the press release again that told you nothing. And it is what it is, and to be perfectly honest, it's not unusual of big companies. All big companies do that. They don't want to play anything, and as you said, that's not even a trailer. They literally played a logo for a few seconds.
Exactly.
So they didn't have anything to really backpedal on. It's like, it's now in development. Well, it's still now in development, but to come out and say, look, we've restarted. And Did it say that they gave it back to the original director too? Is that
yeah?
Was that
they gave it back
that?
to Retro Studios, the original studio. I don't know if it's the original director, but the original studio that did it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know they said something about changing directors too, but everyone, when it came out, everyone was wondering, like, is this Retro doing it? Like, it should be Retro, and everyone was always talking about like retro.
Yeah.
So for them to come out and say, okay, this isn't working, we're restarting development and we're giving it to Retro. Like that alone, I noticed they also disabled all their comments on their channel.
Yeah.
on the video. But if they wouldn't have, they probably would have actually found out that for once this is something people aren't like livid over.
They're not livid over, but why didn't they go
the
with
majority
Retro to begin with, though? That's my question. Why didn't you go with Retro to begin with? Like,
Yeah.
that made no sense. Like, they did the first three. Why didn't they do this one? It was just odd to me.
It would have. I think what happened, and what some of the reports were, is that they were working on something else, and they were.
That's right.
Nintendo's probably trying to hit a very specific time schedule, and they were kind of. I think this actually hurts them really badly because I think Metroid was going to hold up a holiday season in probably 2020 holiday, and now they're going to have to scramble for something or open up the wallet and get a third party to make something exclusive. Because I don't know what they're gonna like. How do you fill that void?
You're right.
You can't rush a Zelda in. They might be able to rush a Mario in.
Maybe though?
Well, technically they could rush in a Mario Maker.
They could, Mario Maker on the Switch. Oh my goodness!
Believe the ports are coming. Believe that the ports will be coming. Believe that they're coming.
I believe they're coming. I totally believe they're coming. I just think like, oh my gosh. I just think that, what if they're making like because there have been rumors like a 2D Zelda or like a Zelda that uses the Breath of the Wild engine for their holiday title for this year.
Yeah, that was the rumor that started. What podcast was that? Was that IGN or was that Game Informer? I think it was Game Informer. But the guy said that he said that don't be surprised if you hear about a Zelda or see a Zelda sooner rather than later because of that. And he kind of hinted that he had some inside information, but I don't know if that's true or not. I believe it's just him talking out of his butt.
I would not be surprised to see that engine reused and a quick turnaround, but this feels a little too quick. If they're like. Mm-hmm. That's not a little world, and people are not going to put up with a little world, and a big world does not happen overnight.
Well.
And I highly doubt that they're going to reuse it completely. Even if they were, they would have to rework everything. World. And I have a funny feeling Monolith has probably been pulled to something else. So if they're gonna have to, if they need Monolith to get pulled back to Zelda to rush it to fill in Metroid, I think that's gonna that's messing up a lot of timetables.
That is true. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big risk, kind of, to rush a Zelda game because you saw with Breath of the Wild, it was in development
for 5 years.
Yeah, it was crazy. But once he got the finished product, it turned out to be one of the, best games, probably in this generation. But I guess to add on to Metroid before, I'm glad that Retro Studios is doing it, and I think. It's better that they get this right than not get it right, because you saw what happened to Fallout 76. Fans were not happy with it, and I think it didn't even hurt their sales for that generation or that game, but it will hurt their sales in future games. So I think you can't take risks like that, and I think that's why most Nintendo fans aren't super angry that they have to restart because they know again they're probably gonna get a good game. from what I saw on I think Spawnwave, I think Retro approached Nintendo.
Yes, I saw that. That was the rumor. I think that was the rumor.
Yeah, making Metroid. And if that is, then I think, you know, Nintendo liked what they saw in that. I mean, that might be one of the reasons why
it could have been. That could have been. I do have a quick question, like, to everybody. Like, you know, we haven't known Nintendo to like jump the gun on announcing stuff. What do you think that they saw in order for them to put up the teaser logo?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
What do you think that they saw that they're like, okay, we can go ahead and announce this and get a jump on this and announce that it's coming, and then 2.5 years later, like, scratch it. Like that's what kind of
just kidding.
I've been thinking. Right, that's what I've been thinking. Well, like, what do you think that they saw, and then all of a sudden their mind changed?
They probably had something on the table, like a plan, a demo on the table or something. And if the rumors to be believed, multiple studios had their hands in it, so they were expecting a quick turnaround. And if that's the case, they were like, okay, we're gonna get a quick turnaround. We have a solid plan. And then as they were developing, like sometimes you have a plan, it looks great, and then as it gets made and it's in front of you, you're using it, you're controlling, and you're like, you know what, this is boring.
you know what, this can't happen.
Just sucks. and if that was the case, you know, that's, and then again, like the rumored January direct that never happened.
Yeah.
They may have been like, okay, we need something for Metroid, and we're gonna show off Metroid, and it's gonna blow up, and it's gonna be great, and then they're like, we don't have anything.
Like, oh no,
like,
we can't do Metroid, so the direct is going to be mediocre. And
you know what? That's actually a great point. That
is a great point.
Put those puzzle pieces together. That actually makes a lot of sense.
And then I actually have a friend of the channel just actually messaged me on Discord to say that he believes it was because the financial meeting's coming up that they came out. Now we were actually transparent because they didn't want to break it to backers, like to
the investors and stuff.
Yeah, the investors. Sorry. Yeah. So he said like it's basically damage control. Put it out now. Put it out in the light. Be as open and transparent as possible, and then kind of give it a little bit to blow over before they meet with investors.
Yeah, kind of.
I thought that was a pretty
that's a great point. But you know, it's crazy because like. If investors are paying attention, the majority of the community is not upset about this. You know what I mean? Like everybody's like every video that I've seen and people on Twitter, you know, in the community, everybody's been like, Retro's doing it. Okay, I can wait 3, 4, 5 years if Retro's doing it. Like that's been the consensus. Like among everybody that I've talked to, I haven't seen anybody so mad about this. Yeah, so I mean, I think people love this game enough to be like, "Yo, do this game right." Before you know, I think people would have been more mad if the game would have came out and it would have just been trash.
Oh, definitely.
If it would have been any name other, any name other than Retro, and I think there would have been a storm.
Hell to pay. Yeah, I agree on that one.
To be honest, I don't think Nintendo. To be perfectly honest, as much as I can sit here now and look back and be like, no, it makes sense. They're giving it to Retro. People wanted Retro. That's what they're doing. They're making people happy. But if you would have told me, 2 days ago, it's getting canceled. They're going to have Retro restart from the beginning. I would have been like, that comment section is going to be nuts.
Right.
Like that's gonna be like absolutely crazy. So I'm not surprised, and clearly they expected it too, because these kind of announcements bring out the most horrible of horrible people in comments. So clearly, I'm not surprised that they had it disabled, but now like looking at the community and how everyone reacted, it's like you should probably re-enable those comments because you're surprised at how much support you're actually getting for it.
It also helps that Smash Bros. Just came out too. That also
people are a little happy about that.
People are still happy about Smash, and there's some games coming out. I think people are currently happy with that. So it helps that they made this announcement a month after Smash came out. Honestly, I think that helps out a little bit. But
it also helps that they waited. for the same week that they announced the incredible sales from December.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, we have Smash, we're happy, we're having fun. Oh hey, look at that! There's tournaments coming for 2 of your big esports games. Our sales are through the roof. We're really healthy. By the way, Metroid's delayed.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Exactly how they did. That's exactly how they did. That's funny.
True. I agree. Oh my gosh.
And
but,
just to add real. Oh, I'll wait. Oh, hold on.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Sorry. Also, I was gonna say that. What was I gonna say? Lost my train of thought. As usual. No, but yeah. Oh my gosh, I literally forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, they announced didn't they announce at that same E3 they announced the E3 2017, right? Yeah, 2017. They announced obviously Metroid Prime 4, of course. But I think didn't they also announce what's it called? Metroid Samus Returns?
Yep.
At that
they brought 2 Metroids there.
Yeah.
That was the one Super Metal Dave.
I know him. I believe that I think that fans would have been really mad if they had just announced the what was it called? Samus Returns. I keep thinking Federation Force. But no, not that one. Samus Returns.
Yeah, I hope that we get a trilogy. I hope we get that trilogy on the Switch sometime soon. That's really what I want. Like at this point, like I saw something on Twitter. I think Smash JT retweeted it. Somebody saying that their sources were they were supposed to announce it in December, but for some reason they didn't. And maybe they could be. Maybe this could be a reason why they didn't do it.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting after this. And okay, it's canceled. We're scrapping it. Maybe this news hadn't been down the pipe since Smash came out. They probably knew way beforehand.
Oh yeah,
like, look, we're gonna wait till after all this blows by, all this stuff. And so I can see a trilogy being announced sometime soon, very soon.
I think it's a bad idea.
You think it's a bad idea?
Why do you think it's a bad idea?
Yeah, go ahead.
The whole point of the trilogy is to get people really, really excited for 4.
Yeah.
And if it's 4 to 5 years away, releasing now might not be the best way to build the anticipation. Wait a couple years, bring it out, and then, like generally speaking, they'd want it out probably about a year before 4 comes out to give people time to play through it, but so that they're still excited for it. So you're looking 1, maybe 2 years at most. If you're restarting development, Retro is not exactly a studio that's known for pumping games out in record time. They are known for taking their time and doing a good job. So I wouldn't expect like 3 years, even with help, is kind of I'd say probably pushing it right now. Especially if they're restarting new engine, new assets. Like we don't know if they were able to keep any assets from the project before. So if everything's new, I would say they're probably going to have to hold off on Metroid Trilogy just to build the hype for 4.
That does make sense.
Yeah. People are still excited though about Mother 3, which but no, I think if they were planning to release the trilogy before Metroid Prime 4, hopefully they did that. So I don't really see like a huge deal with it being released early, but it has to be, a good remastered game though. But I think it would get a lot of people excited. I've never played any of the Metroid Prime games, so that's something I would buy. And I think once everyone's done with it, everyone can go. When they finally release the 4th one, they have a bigger fan base than if, like, say, Metroid Prime for what's coming out this year.
Yeah, but I think that's what Dumo is saying, because it was probably never planned to be this year. It's probably planned to be like next year, and I think that's what he's saying. Like give people like a year or two to play through it. Right?
Oh yeah,
and then
the rumor was that they were going to announce it at the Video Game Awards in December, end of December, and everyone was confused. Like everyone was calling it. It wasn't like one or two sources. It was like everyone was like, "Get ready for Prime Trilogy," and then if they announced it and they released it maybe summer, filled in a gap somewhere in the summer. It's a slow time for games anyways. Slow time for game releases. They have the trilogy come out. People go nuts over that. Next holiday season, maybe earlier in the season, the holiday season, they release Prime 4, and it would have been a great plan. You know, you have your year, then you have your big holiday title for next year, which would have given it at least 4 years development. Like it could have easily have been 4 years development, and then that's a very good dev cycle. So, it would have worked, but they would have had to have hold off at the moment they realized that okay, four can't be done like this. Like we need something better.
Oh,
right. This can't happen. We gotta scrap. Like that's just crazy, man. Like they literally walked in there and said, "This can't happen. We gotta do something different." Like it's just crazy to me, man. They saw something that it's crazy to me. But I'm glad that they're doing good. They're going the way they're going. Like just because it's gonna be done right this time. But I'm happy about that. But I'm upset that we're not getting it anytime soon. I was really looking forward to it. Like I just made a video on YouTube about how this year is going to be huge because that was going to be their holiday release and yada yada yada. And now it's like, well, hopefully Pokemon's dope if Pokemon still comes out.
Pokemon will come out. That stuff's on clockwork. They've got the money to do it.
Yeah, you're right.
And they've been hiring like crazy too. And yeah, that's a whole other topic. But I don't know. I'm not even mad about Metroid. I mean, if it was that bad that they're literally scrapping and restarting, if they're scrapping everything and restarting, like there had to have been like that's not like well, it's pretty good but not quite there. Like you can add stuff and polish things to get it there or do something to make it a little bit more like acceptable. But if it's so bad that you're going to scrap multiple years, possibly multiple studios of work. That's a lot of money down the drain.
It really is,
And if it was Bandai Namco working on it as well, you're taking that contract away. Nintendo's paying that contract.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, in the business world, you take a contract away like that, you don't just be like, oh, well, you worked on it for 3 years, but we don't like it, so we're not paying for anything. It doesn't work that way. You're paying for the time, and you're going to pay it till completion. If it's a 4-year contract, they're paying the 4 years. So this is... something there made them scrap it. So I don't even like people are interested in seeing it. Personally, I don't want to see anything from it because if it was that bad that they're scrapping it after 3 years,
it might ruin it.
And throwing away the money that they just spent on it. Like Nintendo's rich, but they don't waste money. They never waste money. They don't sell at a loss. They don't.
They don't sell at a loss exactly.
So if they're scrapping this, there's a big reason for it.
Oh.
And again, like if they're scrapping it, depending on who is doing a lot of the work with it, part of the deal might have been that if Bandai was doing it, the assets might stay with Bandai, so Bandai doesn't lose their assets. So they can't. That might be why they're restarting from the very beginning. Is because they're moving it to Retro. But if it's Bandai or whoever else holds the rights to the assets, they can't go to Retro. So Retro starting from the absolute beginning.
There's no maybe. There's no maybe. That's why. No, that's exactly why they're moving.
It is possible that that's not in the contract. Obviously, you can do pretty much anything with contracts, but with a company like that, and with how much trust the two of them have in each other, I would imagine that was part of the deal.
Yeah, you could definitely. That definitely makes sense. For sure.
Because otherwise, I don't see them saying that we're starting from the beginning. That means like if you're starting from the beginning, you're scrapping assets and you're scrapping an engine.
Oh man.
Rinku-san in the chat says thoughts on Nintendo announcing Metroid Prime 4 too early.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of went over that. We don't think that they announced it too early. We just think that they saw some development and they kind of got excited, and then as Dumo said, they got later into it. They said this can't happen, and then that was it. I think literally they saw what they saw, they announced it because they were excited, and then as the development went on, and they kind of weren't as excited anymore, and they realized this can't happen.
Well,
I don't think they even. Oh, go ahead, Kazoo.
Okay, thanks. I also thought though that them announced, because they announced at that same E3, they announced it early, but at that same E3 they announced Samus Returns for the 3DS. So people would probably have been like, "Where's Metroid Prime 4?" Yeah. You know, so that's kind of what I thought about it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was too early. I don't know.
I think it was too early, but
yeah,
I don't think they had a choice. You're going in, with, like, we're talking first year. You're going in with like super slim launch lineup. A launch lineup people like bashed completely until
yes, people hated that.
Like 6 months to a year later, it's like you can't launch with one game. It's like, well, if it's good enough, you can.
Yeah,
but they were trying to build the hype. You know, it's like you got to show what's coming. It's like you got to let them know that the future is bright. So they were like, you know what, Pokemon's on the way, Metroid's on the way, Mario's on the way. Like they just started name dropping everything they could.
Yeah, Zelda DLC is on the way. Yeah, they did.
Oh yeah,
exactly. They did. They were name dropping. That's exactly.
And they still held stuff back.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
You right. Yo Mom says that it's stupid that they scrapped the entire game. Well, not really, because they because like Dumo was saying, Dumo and Nick, like you guys were saying earlier, like the assets are with the studio, so if they didn't like the assets, they couldn't take them and like put them over to someone else, because that was probably in their contract. So yeah.
And just to add on to what just to piggyback on what you guys was talking about, when you look at the past history of like situations that Nintendo was in, the backlash is catastrophic. I could give quite a few examples off the back of my head. Capcom with one of their top popular franchises, Devil May Cry, being handed over to a completely outsourcing it to a completely different team from Ninja Theory, and how the reception of that was catastrophic. You know, even when they made the changes to the appearance of the character and the character's persona, because they was really upset that this their version of Dante didn't fit what they were looking for. It just really ruined that game to the point where Capcom suffered tremendously from that. So it was a really smart move on their part, because it's funny how that one little thing can just obliterate what you were trying to do, from bad timely releases of DLC to simple misdirection in terms of the characters, which reminds me of the issue with Square Enix and how their situation was much worse because of the fact that people have been waiting for that Final Fantasy VII remake for years, and then they was going through all these different changes, and it just really...
That's not the only one.
Yeah, it isn't. And then they waited so long. Remember the Final Fantasy Versus, and then you had the Final Fantasy, what was that, 13 or 14 or something like that, and how it took so long with that too.
14 was a disaster.
It really was, to the point where people were paying for what, the extra content that should have already been in the game. So poor execution can ruin everything. And to be honest, ever since then, Square Enix did not recover since then. They're just gone, honestly. So Nintendo, it was a real smart move on their part. I mean, like, you gotta, if they feel like this could interfere with the culture that they develop with Metroid Prime and the community is going to be against it, then it was smart. Because like you guys were saying, if everyone was expecting Retro to handle this game and to find out that they're not, and then let's say the game did come out and the expectations wasn't met, that could severely hurt Nintendo's image. So
definitely, exactly, yes. Venge speaks
and then just
truth. He does.
Then just on like Square Enix and again, like that's one I was thinking of as well when that came up. Square has been in an absolute mess in the last 10-ish years. You had the mess of everything. Basically, everything after 12 has just been a disaster. 13, they had a ton of issues. 14, I'll come back to, but wow. 15 is the most recent one. Everyone knows fairly well. And all the issues they had and how people feel like it wasn't like a fully fleshed out game. And there was a lot more they could have done, and just how long the development cycle was on that. Like, development cycles are getting away in Square Enix, and it's continually happening. And they need to do what Nintendo did and just put a stop to it. Just end it. Like 14. So 14, if you guys don't know, is the MMO. It's the second MMO that they've done in the Final Fantasy series, with the first one being 11, and very critically acclaimed. It still runs. It's about 20 years old now. It's still going. 14, when it came out, was so bad they wouldn't charge you the monthly fee for it. So bad that several months later they shut the servers down, fired the team, brought in the team from 11, the director from 11, and like a whole new team, and said, we're working on it. It'll be back when we have a game that we are actually happy with. They shut down the servers on an MMO early in its life.
Oh my god.
Fired the team, and they brought it back, and that's why it's now called Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn. I played off the original, and it was so bad I wouldn't even try over Realm Reborn. And I was coming from like 6 or 7 years playing Final Fantasy 11.
Oh boy.
Like, it was like,
wow.
Square has been they've been in a rough shape for quite a while, and they need. I feel like they're probably giving their devs too much freedom and too much time. If you don't cap it, they're just going to keep adding, and then the game is going to become a mess, and then they're going to try to fix it and make it smoother, and everything's going to become disjointed. They need to cap their dev cycles.
Yeah, that sounds like that's probably the case.
Something that I was gonna ask is, when you guys didn't see Metroid in the video game awards, I think Dumo said it was heavily rumored. I think Reggie, he was there with is it Jeff Kinsley, Jeff Keesley? Keesley
or something like that. I don't know.
Jeff
Keighley.
Jeff Keighley. Okay.
Yes.
Right. If he was there like in a Metroid shirt, I think like everyone was kind of expecting some Metroid announcement to come out. When you guys saw that there wasn't, did you guys think something might be wrong, or no?
Well, what I'm gonna add to that is, there may have very well been a Metroid announcement planned, but it didn't end up happening because maybe they, like, who knows? Like, they took that picture, 2 weeks before the Game Award, 3 weeks? What if, like, this is just all speculation, but what if right after that picture was taken, then they found out that Metroid 4 was getting delayed? And then it was like, then Reggie was probably like, oh, like, Like, I just did that tease, and it's not even happening. Oh, well.
That stuff happens, though. The thing is, that stuff happens, though. Like, where someone will wear a shirt that they have, and then everyone will be like, "Oh my God, they're teasing something," and it's like, well, not so much. But when Metroid didn't show up at the Video Game Awards, my first thought wasn't there's something wrong. My first thought was, oh, that's too obvious for Nintendo. They're gonna surprise, like they're gonna sneak it on us. If something becomes too obvious, that the Nintendo's not doing it.
Yeah, they're the kings of left field, to reference Arlo.
Yeah.
Oh, Arlo.
I love Arlo. He's great. He's great. So with the Metroid discussion, I saw a little bit earlier, Rinku-san said, where was it? Wait, no, it was like way back, sorry. And he said, any thoughts on other games being delayed without any similar notice? Like Fire Emblem Three Houses. So like, because we know that one was delayed without any notice, and like they didn't tell us it was delayed or anything.
Well,
no, go ahead.
Well, Pikmin 4, that's kind of a game. Like, I don't think they said it was in development. They haven't announced anything yet, and people are still hoping for it, but yeah, like, we don't know whether that one's kind of, if it's still going on or if it's canceled, or if it's being redeveloped.
Yeah,
it's probably done.
They're probably done. You think
it's probably done?
You think
Nintendo sits on stuff. They've been sitting on stuff for a while. If the way that Nintendo's fairly well known for sitting on things, especially right now, to get them to release at a specific time, so they don't have the blunder of the Wii U and the big drought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's actually if you go back to the launch of the Switch and all the rumors around it, when we got that January Direct and they finally started talking about the launch lineup and everything, and Breath of the Wild was announced as the launch game, there was a lot of people that were calling, like, a lot of people were saying it's going to be Breath of the Wild. A lot of people were saying it was going to be a Mario game, which turned out to be Odyssey.
Yeah.
And what you were hearing at the time with the rumors is that whether or not Breath of the Wild was going to make launch depended on the localization, and apparently they were having a few issues with that, and it wasn't coming at the speed that they wanted it to. And they were saying that because of that, they were going to push that Zelda was going to be pushed back to holiday, and they were going to launch with Mario.
Oh.
Then that never happened. So that to me would signify that Mario Odyssey was probably done or very close to at launch, and then they sat on it to have a massive holiday title. And they might have even taken that time to do like some extra polish on the game and like really optimize it, and which might actually be why it's such a smooth playing game. Because rather than rushing it out, it's like, okay, well, Zelda's ready to go. Let's finish the polish on this, make it as good as it can. Okay, it's done. They probably have a couple months left to go. Shelf it until then. Start on the next project.
Venge, what are you saying in chat? Just like how some people get on E3 when they don't really take E3 seriously. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I was bringing up.
Yeah.
There. That's pretty much it. It's like, I feel like that's one of Nintendo's strong suits, that they don't do things when everyone else does it. Because, I mean, look at the success that they was able to build with Smash and the Nintendo Direct. It's like no one can really predict what's going to happen, which makes it harder for people, to pinpoint what's going to happen, and you have all this speculation, which just generates that much more hype, you know?
Ooh. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they just basically announce everything whenever they want.
Well, I think like they do take E3 very, very seriously. They just know that they have other places where they need to announce.
Yeah.
And they again, the other companies are starting to take note of the announcements and the news, and like watch some news channels. Like pay attention to them. Nintendo is coming up all the time, and I know Spawnwave is getting like harassed constantly in comments over, oh, it's just a Nintendo channel. It's like, no, it's a news channel. Nintendo's just really good at generating news nonstop. Yeah. And that is a big part, personally, to me. I think that's a huge part as to why the Switch is so successful, is that it is always in the news.
I have to agree, yeah. Yeah, Spawnwave, he really does like everything on like every platform, you know. So Nintendo news. But I know he's more than Nintendo, so anyway, I digress. Yeah. So do we have anything else to say about like Metroid or anything? Anything related to Metroid? The trilogy, the delay, anything else? Or should we move on to our next?
I think we're Metroided out.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're all Metroided out.
I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, we did. I think so. So, so we have one thing coming out in the near future, like next week. We got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate version 2.0 is coming out, and it is it looks like it's gonna have actually, I don't know what it's gonna. I assume that Piranha Plant is going to. I assume that's pretty much why they're doing the update. Because it is. That's how they're gonna distribute Piranha Plant, and then it also just fixes gameplay, from what I can tell. Fixes gameplay issues. So they're probably trying to still balance it out, right? But what do you guys think about this?
No different than Splatoon. They're going to balance it constantly until they're comfortable with it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see balance changes every month.
Oh yeah, you know, probably. That would make sense. That would definitely make sense.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Oh, okay. Oh, were you saying something, Kazoo? I didn't know when to chime in. So.
Well, you can chime in.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure I didn't jump in at the wrong time.
No, you didn't.
So
No, you're good.
Okay. Because like Dumo, pretty much is like what Dumo is saying. Like this is definitely going to be some balancing of characters, preparing for the incoming DLC, especially Piranha. Mm-hmm. That's usually what it's going to be geared towards, especially since Smash Bros is so big on the evolution scene, which I can't wait to see. Because I mean, honestly, I remember a few years ago I was shocked to see the Smash Bros on the competitive scene, but after watching the gameplay and everything, and actually experiencing like Smash Bros. Wii U, and how the DLC literally took over the game, and to see the difference from that and what we have now with Ultimate, to where the DLC characters isn't like that top tier go-to, and just about almost every character has something to offer for different play styles, it's definitely going to be a big thing. Balance change, especially with the enormous roster that they have now. So it only makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't begin to imagine how hard it is to balance a roster of that size.
Oh, I know, right? Like, they're probably just gonna be tweaking it. Yeah, like you said, constantly. Cause it's gonna. Obviously it's a really big roster.
Yeah. For the most part, I think they've done, pretty well though, for that. But yeah, I hope with the new update, they have something maybe just a little bit different, like some settings where maybe like one more online mode. I know that's probably not coming, but hopefully it is. But I think they'll probably, like you guys said, they'll probably balance out the players, and maybe fix some of the online issues that are still going on.
Yes, they really need to fix the online issue. I know we're not gonna get servers. I've already resigned myself about that. But we need more control over battle arenas.
Yes,
right.
The maker, the arena creator needs to be able to. We need to be able to change characters without going out of the ring, because that's just stupid.
Yes.
Because it's like you've been waiting in line to play, and it's like, oh nope, you want to change your character, you're back of the line now. It's like, oh my gosh. And we also need it so that the people you invite, there needs to be some kind of setting or something. The people you invite can't start the match, because that gets really, really annoying.
Yep, that too. And able to change arena settings during your arena. Like, how annoying is it to have to leave the arena, create an arena, you want to switch to free for all. Now you got to leave the arena, create a new one, and type in the code and all that stuff. Yeah, that's very frustrating. You should be able to edit it really inside of the arena.
It's cumbersome, I think, clunky. Oh, go ahead, Chandler.
Oh, no, I think something that I wish we saw with Smash, that's in Splatoon, I don't think it's in any other game besides Splatoon, is like the online lounge, where you can actually like invite someone and they get notified, like, hey, someone like wants you to join their game.
Oh, that's the app store, right?
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, like party invites.
No, I agree with you though. They need to have that in there, because the app is not. The app's not it.
Yeah, no, and I have a friend. He's not on his phone a lot, but he's I can see him online playing Super Smash Brothers, and like I'm trying to text him like, hey, I'm like, do you want to play a match? Like, I won't get a response for another 4 hours. Oh. Hopefully he's not ghosting me, but but that's something that I think that needs to be in there for a great, if they really want to improve online experience. I'm surprised it's not in any other games besides Splatoon right now that I know.
Is the Smash section of the Nintendo Online app up and running yet, or are they still working on that?
I haven't even checked.
I don't
be honest with you.
Think so.
I haven't seen it, but I don't have the game, so I don't know if you need the game for it to actually show up. So I can't really check.
I'm sure there is. I don't care much for the app, honestly. Like,
it's Splatoon. It's amazing.
I've heard that. I use it, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of the app right now. Just not.
The app itself. You take voice chat off that app and you put it directly on the system, and suddenly people are going to start loving that app because it works so well. The competitive side of Splatoon, you'll see guys in tournaments, like the moment a match is done, they're on their phone, and you're like, well, what did it like? that's kind of weird for you. Like you're in the middle of a massive game at E3 and you're on your phone. It's like no, they're checking the stats. They're checking added stats that they don't get in game, which keeps the in-game screen clean. But then you have access to all that on your phone, so you can like I know there's been teams where like, oh well, we didn't have enough turf control. Like we didn't have enough ink coming out. Like we need to do more. And so they look at the app like, no, I the guy in charge of it is like, I did 2,000 this time. Like I did 2,000 in that match. So you're gonna have to look somewhere else for the issue. You know, and you see stuff like that, and the app is just great for that. There's a lot of stats that, especially for a game like Smash, you can have so many stats, so many little things that can be tracked that would clutter your screen and make it terrible to look at. But you can put them off on the app, and you can check them in between fights, and you can have so much information, and you can learn a lot from it, and you can get a lot better just based off of having all the information. But also, you don't want to clutter your screen. The app's perfect for it. And then also for setting up lobbies, to be able to set up lobbies, invite people without leaving your battle range, invite people from the app and just keep cycling them in, filling it up. The app has a lot of potential. The voice chat is holding it back, and it definitely didn't it didn't come through the way Reggie was trying to sell it originally.
That is true. People just hate it because voice chat is part of it.
The voice chat is not good. I'm sorry. Like I love the app. Like we were talking about this, the app could be so much better. You could implement store access to the app. You could implement a whole lot of cool stuff to the app. Just don't put voice chat in the app. Like I talked about this with Abaddon. Like because the voice chat, when I was using it's just really off. It's just really off, and I didn't enjoy it at all. Like the fact that it disconnects you before you get into a game. It's just weird. It's just really odd. I don't get it.
Yeah, there's a lot too. I've never tried it.
No, no,
yeah, I'm always in Discord. I'm always in Discord or Xbox Live.
Yeah, Discord just does it so well. And then I can actually use my mic, so I can cut out background noise, and then I don't have a ton of stuff going on in the background. If I use my phone, well, there's multiple issues with that. One is that I'm going to have to wear headphones instead of using my mic.
Yeah.
Which means I can't hear the game sound. So if I'm running a blaster, I need to hear my indirects hit.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore. I can't hear people around me. And then on top of that, my phone, the headphone jack in my phone is messed up. In order for it to work, I have to push it in sideways. And so that would mean that I would have to play Splatoon with one hand to do voice chat right now. And that is not happening.
Yeah, that's like not possible. Well, at least not with the way that your Joy-Cons are Pro Controller, I guess. They do have some cool one-handed mods for Joy-Cons, but
oh, do they? That'd be neat. I'd like to see some of those.
Yeah, they do. They actually, for like disabled people and stuff. But yeah, but I digress. They're pretty interesting. I'll have to send you some. I remember I was in an advertising class last year making some ads, like designing ads in InDesign, and I was doing one for like disabled gamers, and I was like, well, the Switch is perfect because like all these reasons, and one of my reasons was because of the disabled or the one-handed mod. So
the one-handed mod, that's awesome. That looks phenomenal.
Oh, are you looking it up?
And then the moment you said it, I'm like, I have to see this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the other one that they were having was the split Joy-Con. So for people that it's painful to bring their hands together, or it just doesn't, like, for whatever reason, like having their hands together up, whatever, is an issue for them. Yeah. To have them out into the sides. I also know like a lot of PC gamers like PC because their arms are spread out rather than being tight together, and it's I've also heard a lot of that with the split Joy-Con. They're like, I like that because I can sit at a more comfortable posture.
Yeah.
If I'm going to play for several hours, I don't want to be cramped up, and that's another big benefit. Yeah.
Hold it like that.
I don't know. For me, I can't get used to the split Joy-Con thing where it's not in the what is it, the holder, where you just have one in each hand. For me, I don't know. I just it's just too weird for me. But I know for some people, they really like it and it's better for them.
Too much like a Wiimote, Chandler?
Yeah, a little bit.
I can't. I don't know why it just shifts on me whenever I'm trying. Like you play and then it's just I don't know. I feel like there would, in order to put one in each hand for me, I would have to have more plastic to it. Like it would have to be a bigger Joy-Con to sit comfortably.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I know people do it and people are really good with it, and I know people love it. Some people really really love it in Splatoon. I can't do it. I no.
Yeah, I feel you. Sometimes though I've been like traveling and I forgot my grip, and I had to like play Breath of the Wild with no grip, and it was kind of weird. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Did you guys let me see here. Oh, dang it. My thing. Anyway. So we talked about version 2.0 coming to Smash. Okay, another thing I was gonna have us talk about was our thoughts on the next Splatfest. So, as we know, a new Splatfest has not been announced yet. So, oh, Mama Kazoo is in the chat! Mama Kazoo! Everyone say hi to Mama Kazoo.
Hi, Mama Kazoo.
Hello, Mama Kazoo.
What's good, Mama Kazoo?
Yes. So anyway, the Splatfest, I know the Frosty Fest got the January Splatfest. It was announced like in the beginning of December. So I don't even remember when the other Splatfests were announced. I didn't really pay attention to that. But anyway, I think that I thought it would just be kind of interesting for us to just talk about what we think about the next Splatfest. Oh no. Did my thing freeze again? Okay, no, it's okay. Anyway, what about you, Dumo? You're our resident Splatoon addict. So what do you think about the next Splatfest?
I don't know. It's coming. That's pretty much what all it is. I don't think it's going to be another huge one. I don't think you're going to get more like decorate. It's not going to be as pretty, shall we say, as the Frosty Fest.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
It's probably going to be a lot lower energy.
Yeah.
There was talk. There was one thing I caught earlier. Apparently, data mining. They're missing files for the Shifty Station, which is kind of weird. So I'm not really too sure what that's gonna amount to, but
really?
That was something data miners apparently flagged, was there's missing files for the Shifty Station. So I don't know what to make of that, but it's gonna come. It's probably gonna be a one-day event.
Yeah,
I wouldn't expect too much more of that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's gonna be lower energy. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't know. Maybe they'll do something like Valentine's themed, or like
That's probably the next one.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. I don't know. I haven't played Splatfest since No, I didn't even play the guacamole one. I think I played like a few, but I think the last one I took seriously was like Team Raph and Team Leo, or
yeah,
the Ninja Turtle ones.
That was back
the
in
one
like May.
Yeah, like it's been a while since I've actually touched Splatoon. So, but I need to play that game again. It's just Smash is taking up so much time.
Yeah,
Smash
no,
is
I
taking up a lot of time.
feel you. It's oh yeah, pro Valentine's Day versus anti Valentine's Day. I mean,
single versus couples, single, married, single, taken.
There we go.
Single
they won't do
versus
that.
taken. Yeah, you could
Dude, that'd
do
be
that.
hilarious.
Yeah, single.
It'd be hilarious, but they're not going to do anything with anything negative. It's going to be something like flowers versus chocolate,
Yeah.
Candy versus chocolate,
hearts versus flowers, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they would do something. Sometimes I wish they would do something polarizing like that. I mean, not that that's really that like polarizing, but I don't know, something that has anything, any kind of negative.
They're controversy free over at Nintendo.
Oh yeah,
they're controversy free over at Nintendo. There's no way they're gonna do that.
Oh yeah.
Well, they try at least.
Like, Neko Hearts versus chocolate.
What is Neko Hearts? What?
I have no clue. So that's what.
I want to say it's probably those little hearts with the writing on it.
Oh, the little hearts with the writing on it. Okay.
What I have to assume that's what he means.
Oh.
That stuff, man. I used to love those. It was actually good though. I love those. I'll eat those by the handful.
The hearts.
But would you take them over chocolate?
I don't know. On Valentine's Day, I don't know. I'm kind of during Valentine's. I'm in the mood, man. I'll eat the crap out of them hearts. But you can get chocolate anytime. You can only get those hearts during Valentine's. So I'll eat the crap out of those.
I know. If that comes up, I'd have to go with the hearts, just because chocolate's going to be walking away as the winner on that one. Most popular is definitely going to be chocolate.
Oh yeah, chocolate would definitely.
Usually the most popular loses. I don't understand that either.
Yeah.
Well, that's because all the resident like veteran players that have been around a long time have looked at it and been like, oh, all the popular teams lose, so I'm going to go to the other team. I'm going to pick the unpopular choice, as does all the other veterans, and then all the people that are just coming in more casual and just coming back for the Splatfest, they're all going to take the popular one because odds are pretty good. If it's the most popular, that's what they're going to want to do. And then you have like a flood of more casual players versus a flood of more consistent players on either side, and that's why that ends up being the thing.
It sucks that that's the case, though. It really does.
I wish they'd find a way to try to combat that.
I know.
It'd be nice to just not know.
I know, because it's like, if popular, that's probably the only way that they could combat that, is to just make popularity not be a factor in the decision.
Well, then what's their third deciding?
I don't know. See, that's it's an interesting point.
I was really hoping the new system was going to kind of play with how that all worked.
Yeah.
And then kind of throw it in the wind a little bit, and it did. I think for the first Splatfest of the new one, and then after that, it's just gone right back to normal.
Aww.
Just add a battle royale mode. We got 3 teams instead of 2, and that'll fix that.
Do you like snowy days or sunny days? That would be an interesting topic, Fire. Yeah, obviously sun. Like I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know who would pick snow.
The last snowy day I had here went from -30, and then 12 hours later was freezing rain. So, yeah, sun.
Yay.
I'll take sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would too.
I feel like the only people who would pick snowy days would be snowboarders and skiers. Besides that, I think everyone likes sun.
People in hot climates that have never seen snow and just want to.
Yeah. I could see that. Or kids that want snow.
I would rather do blistering hot days versus blistering cold days. I think I think you'd have kind of a mix up there of people.
Oh yeah, you would rather have that. See that as a Splatfest because it's more like
you would have plus more 40 versus minus 40.
Yeah. Right. Well, you're talking Celsius, so I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. So.
1 sec.
Oh my gosh.
104 Fahrenheit.
104 Fahrenheit versus.
Oh, that's okay. I take that over minus 40.
and minus 40 is
negative 100.
Straight up minus 40. That's the.
That's negative 40.
That's where they pass each other.
Yeah, I don't want negative 40.
I'll be honest, we get both in our city, and it sucks. Both are terrible. Especially when you put in humidity with it and everything. And
gross.
Wind chill with the minus 40, and everything's just terrible.
Wind chill with minus 40. Wow. That is lovely.
Yeah, that'd actually be a really hard choice.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I don't know. You can always. I don't know. That's a good question, man. Do you want to be really, really hot? Do you want to be really, really cold? That's me. I guess I gotta go hot. I don't know. I can't do cold. Like cold is just bad. Like your hands don't feel bad when they're too hot, unless you're sunburned. But like when it's cold, like your hands don't work.
That's true.
But you can't sleep in the blistering heat.
I mean, you can't sleep in the cold either. I mean, you could if you bundle up, maybe.
Heated blanket, my friend.
You're probably right about
Heated
that.
Heated blanket.
I mean, you can sleep in anything if you put your mind to it.
Heated blankets are amazing. You turn it on an hour before bed, you get into a hot bed on a cold day. Yeah.
Nah, I like my sheets cold.
Electric blankets are
slide into that.
Really bad for you, though.
Yeah. I'm comfortable. I don't care.
Oh man, they're like so bad for you though. Mama Kazoo, are you still in the chat? Tell everyone why electric blankets are bad. Anyway, what is fire? Yeah, you can only take off so much and be socially acceptable. Right. If you layer up until you get warm, but in the summer you can only take off so much. It's like, what do? Rip your skin off? When
at minus 40, you're not getting warm.
No. What if you go inside?
Inside, well, I guess it depends on how new your house is and how good your furnace is.
You're right.
My furnace is okay right now.
My furnace is passable. We don't freeze.
Yeah, we don't freeze.
18 degrees. 18 degrees in the summer is beautiful. 18 degrees in the winter, not so much. It's funny how that works, isn't it?
What is it? Wait, what did you say?
He's talking Celsius here. He's on the Celsius.
Yeah, so I'm looking it up. 64 and a half in the winter is not okay in your house. It sucks. If that's your house in the summer, though, that 64 is pretty darn nice.
I'm a big 72 across the board kind of guy, like 72 in the summer and in the winter. Actually, a little higher in the winter, but
I agree with you.
My house is
72 across the board. That's pretty good.
That's a nice
18
temperature.
is about room temperature in Celsius. Oh, okay. Yeah. Ender says she would pick snow. Hello, Ender on Twitch. Welcome to the podcast. Gosh, I don't know. Wait. There was something else we could talk about.
Was it the SNES?
Yes,
game?
That's what it was. The SNES, the SNES data mine. So, in the data mine, there was they data mine the Switch Online, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yes, and they found plans to add in SNES games. So which is like, I guess it's kind of an inevitable thing because of course Nintendo would want to do that, right? We don't know why they didn't do it earlier, but that was probably because they wanted to add them in later so people would still want to stay subscribed, so it would still be worth it, I guess. What do you guys think? Like, why didn't they add them in early? Like, which ones do you think are gonna come?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't know. I always thought it was a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
And this this whole data mine thing kind of shows that that's going to be happening. I just found it funny that the roster was very similar to the SNES Classic. And then there were some other games there. But that kind of makes sense. They don't. But I don't know, man. Like, what I'm really interested in is not so much the Super NES, but what they found, which were 2 other emulators, that they found, and people are kind of speculating what those are, whether it's going to be N64 or Game Boy or Game Boy Color or all this stuff. I find that part interesting because I like to speculate about that. But I think the Super Nintendo makes sense, and it needs to happen. I think soon. Someone told me they're like, I think they'll do it in September around the anniversary. And I was like, I don't know. I couldn't wait that long. Does anybody in here even open up the NES games anymore, or is that kind of come and gone for y'all?
Yeah, I don't really.
Yes.
Wait, what'd you say?
Venge says yes.
Oh, Ben says yes.
he's like,
I don't really play him that much, to be honest.
I tried to play him with viewers, and the online, even with the low latency, was
so
just
bad.
No, like it works fine for about 5 seconds, and then the next thing you know, it's like you're playing and you're questioning whose turn it is.
Yeah,
and that's not okay.
Yeah. I played with my buddy. I played hockey, and I was like, we're not doing this. Turn it off. And then when you play Super Mario Bros, like, it makes it almost unplayable because of the lag, and you're trying to anticipate, but you can't anticipate because of the lag.
You want to be frame perfect, but there's so much lag.
Yeah,
and you try to anticipate the lag, and it either lags less or more, and like, no, so bad. And that, like, what drives me nuts is look at Splatoon and how well it runs online, and you can't get an NES game to work. That's literally, like, it's okay. You have 8 players at the same time in Splatoon with a decently low enough lag that you can play it, and they can have tournaments. You can't have me play one player on a screen in Mario and then the next player on the screen in Mario without the game just collapsing. Like, you got to do better than that.
It doesn't make sense.
Not to mention it's 8-bit too.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they delayed for a year and couldn't get this right.
It
took them a year to not do this.
That's what's the most baffling about this. It's like, you delayed. What were you doing?
Hey, at least they just hired a new manager.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah. Oh, you're right, Nick. You're right.
So
at
least they have somebody who's responsible for specifically Nintendo Switch Online. So hopefully that goes well in the future. I just, like you said, they delayed it and you put it out. It didn't work very well. People played your NES games for like maybe 2 weeks to a month, if that, but now all of a sudden you get somebody, hey, you're in charge. You need to figure this out. Like, y'all should have had that person in charge from the get-go.
Yeah.
I just found that baffling too.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And FireF said that NES games weren't designed around online. It's harder than you think. One thing I'll say to that is I was playing NES and Super NES games in college over the internet with people on emulators. We played a bunch of Bomberman actually too over emulators, and it's like they manage that. It, like, yeah, there's going to be lag, but if a free emulator can do that, like, Nintendo should, like, this is Nintendo. They spent an extra year. It might be above my head, sure, but you're telling me people whose career this is couldn't figure this out in a year.
I agree. I agree.
That's just, like, hard, tons of problems, sure, but you're an expert and you had an extra year.
Yeah.
That's where I question it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I can't remember what the name of this program was that my buddy had me download on the PC. I can't even find it. I think I uninstalled it because I wasn't going to use it. But like, he literally said, "Hey, download this real quick," and he was playing Devil May Cry, or not Devil May Cry. He's playing DMC, the one that nobody liked, but he was playing on his PC. And he literally said, "Hey, plug in your USB controller and then click this button." And literally within seconds, I clicked this button and I was literally playing his game, lag free. And he was sending it to me, and it was just this one little app. And they can do that, Nintendo could do that with 8-bit games. I'm playing Devil May Cry, not Mario Brothers. Like, that should be a thing. And as well as Dumo said with the emulators, like, yeah, Nintendo could have gotten it done easy. I just think they just didn't spend the resources on it, because I don't think they thought their online would be a big deal, but now apparently it is a big deal, to us over here in the West. So I'm not going to work on it.
How many times does Nintendo have to sell us NES, Super NES games and things like that before they realize they are a big deal? They're a big deal. How does Nintendo not know this? They keep bringing them out, and it doesn't matter what the price is, we're going to pay because they're amazing. How have they not figured out that we're going to eat this up? It is a big deal.
That's true.
They were probably late on that, because here's the weird thing. Now that I think about it, emulation has been around for an extremely long time. I mean, we're talking way back when I was in high school, how we could play, use like the ZSNES emulator and literally play with someone online with the games that, you technically couldn't do long ago. Like Mario, for example, Mario 3, for example, things like that. I mean, like, it's weird how they can underestimate that. And it's like, I guess now it's to the point where they're finally starting to realize that, because it was weird. These, like, the emulator sites has been around for so long, and so now all of a sudden Nintendo decides to shut them all down. And now they're trying to bring these games back. But unfortunately, they're not doing a really good job of setting all of that up. And that's real unfortunate. And I'm baffled by that myself. I feel like if anybody should be able to do that just as well, it would be Nintendo. But one of the crazy things that I learned about fans is you have dedicated fans out there that really loves certain games so much that they invest a lot of time in it and they make it work. It's weird. I don't understand it either, but I guess Nintendo was just late. Like, they just start realizing it now. And to make matters more challenging for them, they're very inexperienced with online play. But at the same time, like you guys said, they had an extra year. You'd think they would have figured it out by now. But it's like, I guess in Nintendo's case, it's just with them. It's like they're trying to figure it all out, and they're struggling with that still. I don't know. It is strange.
Yeah, it really is.
The whole idea of the online space is still relatively new to them. I will not give them a pass for that. They have the money. They can pay someone where it's not new, and they can get the job done.
Well, that is true.
They have the funding. Like, there's no excuse for it, really. Even like the online and the app and everything, that was all supposed to be handled by a third-party company. Like, they had in that list of companies that were signed on with this Switch, they had one that specialized in apps, and this Nintendo app is the best they did, apparently. And then they didn't touch it for for how long after?
Shoot, they should do what Sega did. Like what Sega did with Sonic Mania. They literally took the fans that really dedicated their time into the Sonic franchise and literally helped put that masterpiece together. So, I mean, you do have a point, because all they had to do was simply track down the people that was responsible for developing those online emulators that actually successfully ran the games like online, and then have them help with that.
If they did that on their own with no help.
Wait, guys. Dumo. I had to mute the desktop audio on the stream for a second, so just hold that thought. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
All I was saying is that if they can make the emulator work as well as they did on their own without any help, imagine what they could have done with Nintendo's emulation and actually using like the original emulation that Nintendo had that's already in place and ready to go. That would cut out a ton of their work to make that stuff happen.
Time is money, right?
Yeah. Money,
Yeah,
money.
I just remember how excited I was. So when Nintendo announced like, oh, we're taking more time to kind of like, develop our online infrastructure, I was like, all right, this is going to be the year like Nintendo at least makes a decent effort to like catch up with like the rest of the people. And when I heard it was $20 too, like I was thinking, all right, we'll be able to like chat, through the console. We'll have a decent retro game service, and it'll be easy to invite people and message people. And I don't think any of those things really, some of them, but not to the extent I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then when I just heard their announcement with what they're going to release before it actually came out, I'm like, you guys had like pretty much a year to like develop all this stuff, and it's just like, oh man, it was a little bit of a letdown. But
well, you were expecting for $20 a year to be able to do at least what the Wii U did.
Yeah, that's
really,
true.
Though.
I don't think that was unreasonable of you.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, I don't know why. I'm trying to get, because Nintendo says he has to go. I was trying to shout him out to get a link to his channel.
Oh,
there it is.
It.
Oh, wait, no, that's Venge. Venge, guys. Yes, okay.
Yeah, take it easy, Nick, man. You have a good one, my dude, if you're still there.
I'll just copy paste the URL in.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna close the...
There you go, guys. That's the URL for Nintendo Direct.
Alright, thank you, Dumo. Thanks for pasting that in there.
Thank you. I needed that anyway. I just met the bro, so
yeah.
I gotta hit him up with that sub. So there we go.
Hit him up.
Oh, so to kind of go back to like the original thing we were talking about was the SNES coming to the Switch and the data mine. It wasn't like, it was something that they announced originally with, and like when they originally announced the online, they were talking about NES, Super NES games, and then they just dropped saying Super NES. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of that, if you look at the things that happened around this, they just ended production on the Super and the Super NES Classic, and I was kind of expecting this. They would end production, cancel the sales of it so they're not competing with the service, and then the only way to get them now is through the online service, which we all know that is that's the emulator they're using, is the one from the classic systems.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So now they're just going to transfer it, which again makes sense why so many of those games that were data mined are on the classic, is because those clearly run well on that emulator.
Mm-hmm.
And I would expect all the ones from the classic to eventually make it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think, because they basically just have to port it over. Like,
not even. They don't have to do anything. Once the emulator already runs on ARM, because that's what the mini systems are running. which is what the Tegra is. So they have to. I don't think they'd have to do too much to port the emulator over, and once the emulator is ported over, the game files are just files. You just dump them on.
Yeah.
That's it. Like if you've ever used an emulator on your PC, you just get a ROM and it just loads up in it. Like you don't have to do anything with the ROM. They didn't have to do anything. They just straight rip it and put it online for people to download, and that's all. Like it's nothing.
Yeah, and that's all that's all it is.
In fact, even go back further than that. If you're looking at like Pokemon Red and Blue, if you were playing Blue and you wanted to catch the Pokemon in Pokemon Red, you literally change the name of the file to Pokemon Red, and it would boot you up in Pokemon Red.
Oh. Well, there you go.
The exclusives and everything. It was just the name of the file on the cart would dictate which game booted up in your system.
It's interesting.
That is really interesting. I still kind of don't understand all of it.
I've been. Yeah. Gee, I want to say I've like emulation's been around for a long time, as Venge was saying, and I want to say it was probably the first time I played anything on an emulator was probably about 20 years ago.
Wow.
To put it into perspective as to like how long those have been kicking around for, and how long that technology sort of been being worked on by everyone, apparently not Nintendo.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Definitely. Yeah, so I don't know if we have anything else to say, if we want to just go around now and do our outros. I don't know.
What are your thoughts, Kazoo, on the upcoming tournaments?
Yes, there are some tournaments. That is true. That is true. I would say I think it's good. I think it'll keep the hype going. It's like from that initial Switch reveal commercial, they had the Sploon, like the whole big like esports thing. So it's like that's finally being realized, I guess. It's kind of interesting. My school is some people are trying to start up an esports club at it. But I'm gonna be gone by the time it comes around, so it's like, oh, okay. But anyway, I digress. So that's just kind of interesting. It's kind of like tangentially related, but yeah, I think it's good. I think it can only be good, for the series and for their potential, unless it just becomes so competitive that regular people like me can't play it anymore. I don't know.
Well, I don't really understand everything of how Smash works. And I'm not a Smash player. I've never played the new ones. I haven't played it in ages, so I have nothing. But the Splatoon one, the first day of it is actually Turf Wars. It's online Turf Wars with your team. You register, you do Turf Wars. The top teams coming out of it get to go to the next round. And I don't know if that's the round or whether they do another round after that. And then it's PAX East, maybe?
Oh, it's at PAX East.
Is where they're actually doing the finals. And then the only thing I know about the Smash one is that it's separated into areas. So you have your north, south, east, west. And the winner from each of the areas is going to be who goes to PAX for the finals.
It's a big deal.
And I'm actually, I can't remember, but the winner of this might actually get their spot at E3.
Oh, wow.
And this is actually, for Splatoon, Nintendo also has now hosted 2 European tournaments, like 2 European Opens. They did one last year, and they did one, I believe, I think they did one in 17. They did one in 18, which means there should be one this year as well. Mm-hmm. And they've been just more active with esports over there.
Yeah, it's interesting how Nintendo is really trying to grab that esports market.
Yeah.
And
esports.
I was just saying, they need to do more. That's all I was going to say.
They need to do more to grab them in.
To support the communities. The community,
yeah.
like Smash doesn't really need Nintendo support, but it would go so far.
It really would.
Splatoon could really, really use it. Although they're starting to gain traction with, I think they were at Evo last year. Was the big one?
Evo?
No. Yeah, there was one of the big ones. Wasn't Evo? There was one of the big like ones that Smash was like headlining, and Splatoon was in there as a second one.
Oh.
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I remember.
It was a huge tournament.
That's Evolution.
That was Evo? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was Evolution.
So they made it in. That was a big deal.
So.
A lot of eyes on that one. And then, so Splatoon's kind of getting in with Smash and piggybacking off of them, which only helps them. As far as the Nintendo done events, at least for Splatoon, not only do I say that they need to do more and push the name and get it out there and make it more accessible to people, but also this whole region thing is screwing over a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that, because they're like, especially in Europe and in Scandinavia and things like that, you're looking at a team like Ghost Gaming, which is I believe the only professional team in the West right now that isn't like the only non-Japanese professional team.
Wow.
They're split by region. They can't even go to E3 as a team. They can't compete as a team. They all have to split up.
Oh, that's really dumb.
So that hurts them. But it's one of those things where they have I believe 2 professional teams in Japan, a third team that's ridiculously good, and then there used to be a team in the U.S. that was really good, and they were all American. They've, I believe, disbanded now. But if you're pushing out one of your premier teams, and they might not even be some people don't even consider them the best Western team, but still, it's the most known team. It's the team that gets the most eyes and the most viewers and the most hype around it. They're really present on Twitch, YouTube, social media. People talk about them nonstop. You need to support that. Like you need, like, that's something you can build on. They should be building on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the Smash Ultimate, it will be interesting to see how many players from the melee scene will come over and give Ultimate a try. Because I don't really know much about the esports scene with Smash, but I think there's a lot of really competitive players on the melee side. So if they come over, Ultimate, that would be a big boost for Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, that's going to be the deciding factor, because like when it comes to Evolution, like Melee was that game that they really was hardcore about. When it came to the Evolution scene, they even went as far as actually making like a heavily modded version of the of Melee. So that's going to be a big thing. That's going to be a huge deciding factor. One of the things that I'm hype about is really good to see that Zero, a really well-known top competitor of Smash Bros. Overall, he's doing a lot with Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I definitely feel like Evolution is really going to really benefit Nintendo in regards to Smash Bros. Ultimate. If Zero is playing it and streaming it as heavy as he is, very marketable, talented player. So it would be really good to see Splatoon get that kind of traction. I mean, no one knows if that's going to happen for sure, but
give him half the traction.
Yeah, if it does, it would be lit because evolution and esports goes hand in hand, and esports has really taken off lately. Especially if you look at how Capcom is so successful, or is still alive because of esports. I mean, they're all over that with Street Fighter V and games such as that. So they can only go up if they succeed with that push.
The thing that made Capcom so successful though is that they put money into it, and they put prize money into it too, didn't they? And if the money isn't there, you're just not going to get as many players.
Definitely.
True, because they even have like Capcom Pro Tours. So I see what you're saying there, where Nintendo, if they was more involved, like doing their own kind of Pro Tours or whatever, and collaborating with the directors of Evolution and everything, and try to really get in there. But
you take the big one like Evolution and market it like crazy and blow it up. Like Nintendo could just make that explode. Why do they not have why do they not talk about it in a direct? They could get their hands in there with money. They can profit from it, and they can partner with them. So they're making money off it rather than just giving Evo a ton of money to sell their game for them. But they could actually get in there and make profit and just use their budget and their, like, you put something up on that Nintendo channel, that's a lot more people are going to see it than just whatever Evo can do. And you talk about a direct or be like, oh, the E3, it's like, oh, the next time you're going to see this is going to be Evo. So get ready for Evo coming up. People are just going to go nuts. And people will watch. True. Like, they're going to drag so many people in just by marketing Evo.
That is so true.
They need to put money down to market it. And they need to get money to get into Evo so that they can make money off of it. Otherwise, all they're doing is getting Evo a ton of money to hopefully sell more games.
I know that's true. Shigeru Miyamoto says, lol, sorry about Metroid Prime 4. Oh man, that's funny. I like that.
As long as it's good.
There you go.
That's all that matters.
There you go. We will forgive then. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, just as a recap, today we spoke about the Switch sales, Metroid Prime's 4 delay, or Metroid Prime 4's delay. And then after that we spoke on what do we I don't even remember what we talked about.
SNES.
Right. Yeah, we did talk about, I meant like right after though. Like what was what did we talk about between that and SNES?
I'm trying to remember.
Wait, between what and SNES?
Between we talked about the Switch sales, Metroid Prime 4's delay. Oh yeah, the Smash Bros. Version 2 update. Potential Splatfests, and then we talked about the SNES games coming to the Switch Online service. So that's pretty much I think gonna do it for tonight. For the podcast. Thanks everyone for coming out and joining the podcast. Unless anyone has any questions, we could take questions from the audience. Questions from the chat. If anyone has any. That could kind of round us out to 2 hours, or that's not close.
There was one topic that James mentioned earlier regarding Nintendo shutting down the idea of them talking about a successor or a price drop.
Oh, that is true. That is true. They did shut that down. No, I think, like, of course they're gonna say that because they are not, like, they're not gonna say that they're developing a console. Like, oh yeah, we're working on. That's like what Microsoft did with the Scorpio. So,
oh yeah.
That was not smart. They totally cannibalized their sales.
Yeah, I think you'll see probably like PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 and then the new Xbox probably come out, or they'll probably be announced around, I think, late 2019, 2020. So I think it's probably a good idea for them to kind of release, whatever revised version, probably not the next generation, but the revised version of the Switch around that time. So they have something that can kind of like compete with the talk of both consoles, because that's something that Nintendo has to kind of prepare for, because that's where all the gamers focus is going to be, is on those two consoles.
Yeah,
they can't they can't do anything to compete with it, really. They're gonna have to sidestep it, build the biggest install base they can. The best thing they could do is just use another release, like a revision as a way to build hype, because currently, and I don't agree with it, but the current rumor for the next gen systems is 8-core CPUs, and they're talking about like a second, well, I guess it'd be third gen, but Ryzen 2 8-core CPUs. They're talking about like Ryzen 7s, which I don't, financially, I don't see companies building games for that, but
yeah.
That's what they're talking. There is nothing on an ARM architecture that can even remotely keep up with that right now, let alone the price would be astronomical. So they're probably better just to look for price drop, increased battery performance. But yeah, that rumor doesn't sit with me.
Like a price drop on the original Switch, and then do increased battery on the revision, or
yeah, something like that.
And make it the same as the current Switch, same price.
Or just find a way to get a revision to be cheaper and bring it out as with a price drop. Nintendo already said when they were leading up to the release of the Switch that one of their issues with the Wii U is that they priced it as competitively as they could and still profit off of it. So one of the issues they were going to fix with the Switch was they wanted to price it to a point where there was a price cut possible, which is clearly not going to happen until Pokemon comes out, because why on earth would you drop your system $50 and then release Gen 8 Pokemon, which is going to explode? Like, it's going to crush whatever Smash did. It's going to have a larger install base, and it's going to sell insane systems. You're not dropping the price before that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know when they're going to drop the price? They're going to drop the price the year that Metroid was supposed to come out.
Oh yeah.
That's how they keep the hype going.
I don't know if they'll pass Smash. That would be, I would be impressed if they did with
it's Pokemon. Pokemon on a bigger install base. Do you think about how many units sell? They sold more Pokemon Sun and Moon in a week than they sold in the entire lifetime of the Wii U. More units. Pokemon is obscene. It has it is probably their strongest IP. Pokemon is ridiculous. It'll beat Smash.
And it's not even technically theirs.
No, not fully.
What?
I mean, and then just look at how people still watch streamers play the retro ones. I mean, that speaks for itself, man. Everyone have already played through that game like crazy, but you got people still liking to watch stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty insane, right?
That is true, definitely.
I stopped streaming Let's Go for like 2 weeks, and I lost subs every day because I was posting non-Pokemon stuff.
Oh.
And then and it didn't matter what I was posting, how long it was, like Splatoon, like one of my best streams. The moment I posted even a day, I had like 27 views on a 2-hour stream during the day, and I went up subscribers. Like Pokemon is just Pokemon people. Like there's so many people that the only video game they play is Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not only that, they'll only play Pokemon, yet they'll buy a new system and all 3 versions of the game. It's insane. Pokemon is such a huge one, and it's because it's ingrained from our childhood.
Yeah, it's all the
grew up with
nostalgia.
My daughter goes to school. She didn't even care about Pokemon until she went to school. All of her friends talk about it, so now she comes home and wants to watch it.
Oh.
They've managed to keep that going and create something like long lasting.
It's insane that they can keep it going for so long, because even now that your daughter's like the new generation, and she loves it now.
Oh yeah, she was watching the movie, like the Pikachu I Choose You, the other day. And she wants to play it. She actually she received a Game Boy Color and the original Pokemon Yellow, and she's been playing around with that a little bit too. Like,
oh wow, dang!
I will say the game has changed a lot. That was interesting loading that up.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Fiery. Not getting the appeal of Pokemon. Like, I kind of don't either, like, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think I'm in that boat too, but
the appeal of Pokemon, there's 2 big things. I guess 3. For one, it's one of the few easy to play RPGs. 2 is that it is a collect-a-thon, and 3 is that it is obscenely cute.
It is very cute.
Yeah.
Like play through Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and tell me you don't just fall in love with how cute that is.
I know. Yeah. It's like
adorable game.
Yeah. I've played through probably like half of Let's Go. I need to finish that game. But yeah, I would just like my chat will tell you, like, every time I went into like the play with Pikachu,
yeah,
I was just like, guys, look how cute this is! Oh my gosh.
It is like, it's so like everything from like it giving you little gifts and you playing with it, and it like jumping off your shoulder to go look at flowers.
Yeah,
everything is just. Oh, it's so cute, and they hit so many nice nostalgic things from the original games. They like everything from like your rival, like the opening with your rival. The big joke has always been the professor didn't know who his grandson was, and like and that wasn't in there, and I was really disappointed. And then later on in the game, things are coming up involved, like they hit so many things. They went back, they did an ode to one of the original rumors as to where Mew was in the game. That is still in there. And they made reference to that in the game. Like, there's so many references to the original games.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to say it was Ultra was telling me he counted like 22 like original references, like obscure little references when he was playing through, and people just love it. Like it's so cute, and then the references just I was so very happy with how that game turned out, how much love they put into it.
Oh yeah. That is definitely, nostalgia is a big factor in I think getting games to sell well.
That's why they keep selling us Gen 1.
Yep, keep selling the Gen 1. Gen 1 all day, every day. But yeah, okay, I think that unless anyone has any questions in the chat, I do think that is going to do it for tonight. I know Chandler has to get going. Oh hey, got a YouTube sub from Ender. Hey, thank you, my dude. Anyway though, so a quick recap of what we talked about. The Switch sales from December that were just insane. We talked about the after that Metroid Prime 4's delay, the Smash version 2.0, Splatfest, and SNES titles coming to NES Online, and then we just now talked about wait, we were talking about Pokemon. Was that? Wait, no, we talked about Evo.
Yeah, the tournaments.
Yes, Evo and the tournaments, and then we started talking about Pokemon. I don't know how we started talking about Pokemon, but anyway.
I don't remember how that turned around.
Yeah, I don't remember how that came up, but it did. So we got lots of we had some great topics, great discussions. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Really great discussions, and it was a really great time. So yeah, thank you guys all for being here. Venge, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Pretty much kind of like the same typical pattern that you follow, Kazoo, for the most part. And, you know, I appreciate you inviting me. I'm just so glad this cough didn't cripple me like crazy. And just thank you for inviting me. I had a blast being here, and it was an honor to be here with everyone else.
I'm so glad you could come, Venge. I'm so glad you could make it.
Likewise.
Dumo, what about you? Where can they find you?
YouTube.com/DumoPlays.
Hey.
And I guess Discord, but you'd have to go to the channel to get the invite for that. I do a ton on Discord, and I play with a lot of people on there. We're always doing stuff, and yeah, stream about 3-ish nights a week. So.
Oh, Fiery F, can you grab the links for Dumo and Venge? And then Chandler, did you have any place that you wanted to send people to find you, like your Twitter or anything?
Well, I do have 2 places. The first one is I'll be at happy hour at your local Olive Garden, and then I also created a Twitter account just pretty much 30 seconds ago. I'll leave it here, but I haven't really set anything up. I guess the first the first follower that I get, all thumbs up, I guess. If that's really kind of makes people want to subscribe or follow me.
Oh yeah.
But they can find me there, both of those places.
Oh man. Somebody beat me to following you.
Oh, they did? Oh.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Doug Fraser.
I don't think my Twitter is updated. Let me see.
Thank you, thank you, Fiery.
Oh, I can see them. Oh, I have 3. Wow. Shoot.
Oh wow! Already.
Venge.
Nice.
Venge, I think, was the first one, so I'll give him a thumbs up.
Who is Doug Face?
Doug Face. Oh, he's a guy in one of my classes.
Oh, how did he know to follow you?
Oh, nice.
That I don't know.
Ah, that's funny.
I can tell you, but I guess he's up there, so.
He has an anime profile picture. Alright guys, that thanks for joining us on the KazooCast today. If you don't know me, my name is TheYellowKazoo. I have Twitter, Discord, YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, Redbubble. Don't forget the Redbubble. Buy the Kazoo merch. Anyway.
What about Periscope?
What? Periscope?
What about Periscope?
Yeah, periscope.tv/TheYellowKazoo. That could use some love, not gonna lie. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us on this KazooCast. Today, I see Bala just got here. Sorry, Bala, we're actually ending right now.
Hey, Bala.
But yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say goodbye to everyone right now. So thanks everyone for joining me again, and I think this was a great KazooCast. So see everyone later. Bye.
Bye.
Peace. That was nice.
Alright, thank you for having me on again, Kazoo.
Oh yeah, of course.
Alright, and
Yeah, that was good.
yeah, it was pretty good. And yeah.
Some really good topics for that too. It was a really for a podcast.